So the first thing that we need to do is select the competitors that we want to use for the dive. Now it's very important that we go and find the best sellers in any niche, because if we don't find the best sellers for the niche, we're not going to get the best results out of Data Dive. So I'm typically looking for the top 15 sellers in any niche. 15 to 20 is usually the sweet spot. I'm going to use PetTP for this example. If you were selling this product and you're optimizing, of course you need to add your own product into the tray ready to dive. So I'm just going to choose the top 15 from page 1 here. Amazon does help us out a little bit and tells us the estimated sales. If they're a little low like this one, then you could go to Divebox, and Divebox will actually list the products on page 1 in order of sales, making it easy for us to select the top 15. Now I'm only going to select products that are similar to my own. So if the style is slightly different, I'm going to ignore them, unless it's a very shallow niche. And if there isn't enough styles that match my own, then I may add a couple of different styles as well. But if there is enough, it's very important that we're comparing apples with apples for our optimization. So I'm going to come through here and select. So that one does look similar, but actually this one's marketed towards kids, temp for kids. So I'm going to ignore that one. And I'm just going to add ones very specific. So I'm looking for TPs, pet TPs. Okay, so these look good. If you hover over the image or the ASIN, it will enlarge it so we can take a closer look. That one's slightly different. That one's a pet TP. A little trick as well, if we just zoom out ever so slightly here, we'll actually be able to see how many ASINs we have in the tray. So we've got 9 so far. Let's get that up to 15. That one's good. That one's good. That one's good. That one's good. Those two are good. Little 10 TP. Let's go with the TP. Okay, so you can see we have now 15. Another good way of finding the best sellers actually is to go into the subcategory if it has one. On this product, it doesn't actually have a subcategory listed here. Dog houses, okay, maybe it does. Slightly different. We've got this one in the tray, so we can just have a quick look if we've missed any. Again, I need similar styles. Okay, that's a good one to add in. See, we would have missed that on page 1 for Pet TP. So maybe they're not ranking well for that keyword, but they are one of the best sellers. So we can go and find out where they're making their sales from, where their traffic's coming from. We'll add in this one and this one. Okay, they already exist in the dive. They're just different variations. So it doesn't let us add that in again. And that's fine. So let's take a dive on these ones. So when you're ready to take a dive, we've got the widget installed here. We can see we've got 15 ASINs in our tray, which is the minimum we're looking for. And then I'm going to create a new dive and name it Pet TP. Done this before, so I need to name it again. And now what Data Dive is doing is we're going to find all of the keywords that these ASINs that we've selected are ranked for, are making sales for, and then we're going to return these keywords to you in some sort of order of relevancy. So rather than giving you thousands of keywords in a CSV file, for instance, to go through yourself and filter out any irrelevant search terms, we actually give each keyword, each search term, a relevancy score. So let me explain that first of all. I'm just going to pull this up to give us some more room here. So we've returned 40 search terms that have a minimum of 30% relevancy. Now the relevancy score, as you can see, Cat TP or Pet TP both have a relevancy score of 100%. So what that means is out of these 15 ASINs that we've selected for the dive, all 15 of them are featuring on page 1 for both Cat TP and Pet TP. and we're returning anything that has a minimum of 30% relevancy. So on a dive with 15 ASINs, 30% relevancy would be 4.5, so let's say 5. If 5 of the competitors that we've chosen feature on page 1 for that keyword, then it goes straight into our master keyword list as a relevant keyword. Now obviously it's not perfect, you will need to come through and take a look at these keywords and see if any of them are irrelevant, and if they are, we can exclude them. So this is a Spanish search term here. I can select that search term and then just exclude it from my MKL. Same with any branded search terms. We do have a button, so you can see the B here. There's no branded search terms in this, but if there was, we could hit that B. It would select all of the brands that we've selected in our dive and exclude those search terms. Bear in mind, if you do have a brand yourself and you have some branded search terms, you don't want to exclude your own, of course. So that's the master keyword list. We've got 39 in there, total search volume of 41,000. I'm just going to explain the strength score. So you'll notice each ASIN that we've selected, we assign a strength score. And that is based on the amount of search volume that any of those ASINs is on page 1 for. So very strong indicates that this seller is on over 80% of the search volume, total search volume on page 1. So total 41,000 searches a month, and they are on page 1, high visibility for 37,000, which is 92%. So they're a very strong seller. Anyone over 80% we class as a strong seller. Anyone between 60 and 80% is strong. Anyone between 40 and 60 is weak. And anyone that's any seller that's ranked on less than 40% of that search volume on page 1 we class as very, very weak and easy for you to overtake, essentially. So if any of these were our listing, then we can just pin it. So these are listed in order of sales. If you pin, then it would just become the number 1. So you can easily compare yourself to the competitors. So let's say SmartyCat is our product for this demo. And we can see here the organic rank for this product on each of these keywords in our master keyword list. So we can quickly come through here, see where we may be performing well and where there's gaps. And more importantly, we can see where our competitors are getting their sales. So in this case, red signals a strong organic rank. They're a strong seller, so you can easily identify where your competitors are getting their sales. With organic ranks of 1 and 2 throughout these keywords, you can guarantee that's where they're getting the majority of their sales. And you can look at the whole competitive landscape here and where these competitors are getting their sales and where they're not performing well and where there may be opportunity for us to do better, essentially. So we do have 2 other buckets of keywords here as well. This is the master keyword list that I've just been showing, but we also have the outliers. The outliers are slightly different criteria. So here we're looking for, and you can change the criteria up the top here, we're looking for a minimum of 2,000 searches a month, but these ones have a maximum relevancy of 30% rather than a minimum. So what we're saying is, 2 or 3 competitors are on page 1 for this keyword. It may be relevant to the product and it may be one that you want to include in the MKL. In here, there can be some really low-hanging fruit. So for instance, dog tent, pet tent for dogs, we can see the best seller is actually ranked really well on these keywords. Number 3 for pet tents for dogs, or pet tent for dogs. And in, the top 10 and in the teens for cat tent beds and dog tents too. So if we wanted to include these in our master keyword list, we would just select them. I wouldn't say cat tent bed. We don't have a bed with this one, so I'd probably leave that. Cat tents for indoor cats, pet tent, tent for cats. Puppy house could be a good one. These guys are picking up well on the puppy house there. So we can see any of these outlier keywords that not all of the competition are taking advantage of, we can add to our master keyword list too. Cat hideaway could be another good one. These guys are in the top 20 for that. Cat hideout may be a good one too. And we can add these into our master keywords. So we just include, and they'll be transferred across to the master keyword list. We then have a third bucket of keywords, which is the residue keywords, and that's kind of everything that falls between the gaps. So if I just open up the settings for here, you can see that the green, anything above 30% relevancy is green, that's in the master keyword list. The outliers, is below the 30% relevancy, but more than 2,000 searches a month. And we can change the criteria of that if we wish. And then the residue is all of these keywords that fall into that gap there. So a lot of them will be under 2,000 search volume and under 30% relevancy, as you see here. But some of them could be good keywords too, right? So we've got puppy tent, tent for dogs, cat tent indoor. So they're all relevant search terms too. So it's worth spending a bit of time in here to go through these keywords, promote any relevant search terms to the master keyword list and exclude any irrelevant search terms. So we have a nice clean master keyword list, and that's the foundation of everything that we do in Data Dive.